So, a very good morning, friends. Today I am there before you with one very important topic. Many of you asked me, sir, this topic is going to puzzle us a lot. I said it would puzzle you because definitely it should puzzle you because the word in the title itself is very puzzling even for me. Being a married, I know this. The wife, apart from the joke, the topic I am going to discuss before you is the wife of Bath's Prologue. In semester 2, usually you have to read it. It is written by Geoffrey Chaucer and he was born in 1340. Till 1400 he survived and he was born in London. As you know that Geoffrey Chaucer is not an ordinary writer. He is in fact called to be the father of English poetry. And why not? Writing a work of 17,000 lines is not an easy job in a single work. In this, what is very important that Chaucer has also cast himself as one of the characters as well as the narrator of the story. Perhaps this word, the Canterbury, would puzzle you more, but I would like to tell you this is there in a geographical map also. And it is an actual place, it is not an hypothetical place because you are in India, so you should know about it. That the distance from where the journey, this pilgrimage began was Southwark in London and Canterbury situated 60 miles away from Southwark, from where actually this journey begins. You can see there in the location also I have said the distance between Southwark and Canterbury 60 miles. Now the Canterbury Tales begin in the month of April as the narrator Chaucer and his host, the friend Master Harry Bailey, who is the owner of the Tabard Inn. Tabard is also one of the place and there he has got an inn known as Tabard Inn and begins a pilgrimage from the Tabard Inn at Southwark to the famed Canterbury because it is a famous pilgrimage where Sir Thomas the Becket, the martyr of Christianity, is supposedly buried. And Bailey, the host, suggested that the storytelling competition should be there if you are on the journey. So Geoffrey Chaucer has used pilgrimage as the framing device to narrate the whole story, which are interchained. And it enabled Chaucer to bring together people from many walks of life of the 14th century England, be it knight, be it prioress, be it monk, be it merchant, be it man of law, be it franklin, scholarly clerk, miller, reeve, pardoner, or be it your wife of Bath. So multiplicity of social types present before you the microcosm of the 14th century England. Now this wife of Bath is the name of the husband? No. Bath is the name of the place. That is why this character is called wife of Bath. Whereas for your objective questions, I would like to tell you that the original name of wife of Bath was Alison or Alice. These two names are there as discussed in this chapter, which he states in the prologue. And perhaps his main occupation is hunting men because undoubtedly she has got 5 marriages and she has got 5 husbands. And perhaps she is planning for the 6th also. My God. So she is a very interesting character going to be. Because one marriage, it is said that love is absolutely blind. But marriage is the real eye opener. Even then if her eyes are not opened, she got married one by another and so on. This character is definitely going to be very ludicrous and hilarious. Now, before I begin to teach you this prologue, I would like to tell you what is the definition of what prologue means, you know? Because everything should be very clear before you delve into the chapter. As this Wife of Bath has two parts in itself. One is the prologue, you can see, another is the tale, that is the story. Luckily, you do not have to read tale. You have to read just the prologue, and which is not just the prologue. It is altogether 856 lines. If you get the printout, it will be around 20-22 pages. So, what is the meaning of the prologue? As prologue is made of two words, pro and log. Pro, before word. Something, if I am going to narrate you, say, one story, before that, if a kind of introduction or the background I set, that is known as prologue. So generally speaking, the main function of a prologue is to give some earlier story. So this prologue sets the background of another story, of another tale that you do not have to read. Thankfully, it is not there in your syllabus. You just have to read the prologue. What was the purpose of writing this prologue? This prologue provides us an insight into the role of women in the late Middle Ages. And there are different schools of thought and microscopes through we can study. There are different lenses through we can study. If we'll take the lens of feminism and we study this work, this feminist reading of the tale argues that Chaucer chose to address the change of events that he noticed through the prologue of Wife of Bath's tale, to illustrate the imbalance of power within the male-dominated society. You will be surprised to know, friends, that even English society was very much male-dominated till 19th century. And this is written in 14th century. So the condition of women of England was no different than the condition of the other ladies or women of the other subcontinents or continents. Though Chaucer has tried to paint women more or less in negative shade and in support of a hierarchy which men dominated women. So there are different perspectives to read it. And the prologue to Wife of Bath, as I told you, consists of 856 lines. For your convenience, I would like to divide the whole discussion into two parts. First is a line number from 1 to 451, where the discussion of her first three husbands discussion is there. And in the second part, that is from lines 452 to 856, where the discussion of her rest two of the husbands are there. Before I discuss the important quotations and the lines I try to discuss, I would like to tell you the short synopsis or the summary of this total story. Now, the Wife of Bath begins by announcing, in the first sentence she writes, that experience triumphs knowledge, and summing up her own experiences in marriage. So for her, experience matters a lot. And she has had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 husbands. And she is looking for the sixth. Oh my God. Her first three husbands were old men to whom she was married young and whom she outlived. They all died in old age, leaving her with considerable property. It hurts her a lot when her fourth husband kept a mistress also even after the marriage. This was hurting her a lot. Wife of Bath's fourth husband died. She married Jankin, her fifth husband. However, despite the fact that she claims to have married Jankin for love, their relationship did not go smoothly at first. Jankin was fond of scolding his wife by reading to her from a book about wicked wives and comparing her to them. So lastly, a point came when they got the promises to obey each other, and the book was burnt into ashes, and then they lived happily thereafter. Now, this was the short synopsis and very interesting one. I will delve into now in a line-wise discussion, and I will quote, friends, important lines so that you can easily quote them in your answer sheets, and you will get good marks definitely. Also, it will help you to join the long poem together in short. So, before the wife begins her tale, she shares information about her life and her experiences in a prologue. The wife of Bath begins her lengthy prologue by announcing that she has always followed her experience, her rule of experience rather than authority. And she writes, experience in the first line, experience though no written authority, where in this world is good enough for me. Line number 1 and 2. For her, theoretical knowledge is not important. For her, it is the experience which matters a lot. And now in line number 4, when I read it, you get it that she is just 12 years of age. Since I was 12 years of age, she writes in line number 4, and she got married. And at present, I have had 5 husbands at the church door, she writes. Means she has got 5 husbands. But she has experience enough to make her an expert in this specialist of marriage. Now see, she is nothing wrong, She is, if she says that there is nothing wrong, it means she is guilt stricken. If I say I am no wrong, it means there is some guilt inside me, and that is why I want to justify my marriages. Likewise, wife of Bath is trying to justify her positions, and she writes she sees nothing wrong with having 5 husbands, and cannot understand that why Jesus rebuked the woman at the well who also had 5 husbands. Friend, I will just like to stop this discussion for a while, and I will take you to the Bible where she is referring to. There is one story in Bible which I have brought it for you. In John 4, Sham 4, line number 42, after the discussion is there that in the Bible, the woman appears in John, which this wife of Bath is referring to, where Jesus reaches to Samaria. Samaria is a place, central region of Israel, modern days. And Jesus met a woman on a well. This is the original story in the Bible. First I would like to tell it. Then you will have the clear-cut concept what wife of Bath is referring to in this work, in a prologue. Now, from Bible I would like to quote. Jesus met a woman on a well, said to her, everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. But those who drink of the water that I will give them will never be thirsty. The water that I will give will become in them a spring of water gushing up to eternal life. The woman said to him, Sir, give me this water so that I may never be thirsty or have to keep coming here to draw water. Jesus said to her, Go, call your husband and come back. The woman answered him, I have no husband. And Jesus said to her, You were right in saying, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the man you are now living with is not your husband. What you have said is true. The woman said to him, Sir, I see that you are a prophet. So this is the story, original story from the Bible, John 4, Sham 4. But here, when wife of Bath says that, here I would like to take she says that there is nothing wrong with having had 5 husbands, and cannot understand when Jesus rebuked to the woman at the well who also had 5 husbands, what he meant by she writes, what he meant by this, I cannot say. But I ask why the 5th man was no husband to the Samaritan. Wife of Bath is wrong here. The woman, as discussed in the Holy Bible, was not having only five but the sixth husband. But the sixth person was not legally married to that woman. Jesus was referring to that woman about her sixth husband who was not legally married. She was just living with her. That is him. That is why Jesus told that you were right when you said that I have no husband. But here it reflects, I quoted from 18, line number 18 to 22. Once again, I would like to read it out for you. What he meant by this I cannot say, wife of Bath says. But I ask why the fifth man was no husband to the Samaritan. 18 to 22, line number. It reflects that the wife of Bath has no proper study of the religious text, but she is just pretending to be the learned lady. It is a kind of mockery over the priests too, who are less learned, who are in a habit of misquoting religious texts. Some of the priests do it. Perhaps Chaucer also taken, because the priest is another character in this pilgrimage, in this Canterbury Tales. Maybe Chaucer was referring to them also. Or I would like to remind you, there is a poem written by T.S. Eliot about the fake woman, when in the room the women come and go talking of Michelangelo. They do not know anything about Michelangelo, even then just to show and pomp their knowledge, they just talk about them. So this show off of knowledge is also a snobbery. And perhaps the wife of Bath is very snobbish and presenting herself very knowledgeable and trying to cover up her guilt of marrying more than 1, 2, 3 and 5 times, And instead now she prefers the biblical command to go forth and multiply. In line number 28, she says that God commanded us to grow fruitful and multiply. She says that it is written in Bible itself. God commanded us to grow fruitful and multiply. We have to go for the reproduction. This is what her contention is. And to defend her position, the wife refers to King Solomon, because there in King Solomon is also discussed, she has discussed that character. And in lines 35, 36, he says, Lo, here the wise king than Solomon, I believe he had wives more than one. So if she says, if the King Solomon can also have more than one wife, why cannot I have 5 husbands? And she again refers to St. Paul's suggestion that it is better to marry than to burn, Then in lines 51 and 52, she quotes, he says that to be wedded is no sin. It is better to be wedded than to burn. Bhai, jal ke khak ho jane se acha hai shadi kar lo. This is what she is trying to say. Now further, she also refers Abraham. After Solomon, St. Paul's, she is referring to Abraham, the holy man and biblical figure like Jacob. And she puts forth, in line number 57, she says, and each of them had more than 2 wives. भाई अब्राहम के पास भी, जेकब के पास भी 2 से ज़्यादा वाइफ्स थीं, तो मेरे पास अगर 5 है, where is the problem? She is a very good advocate of herself. Now, having shown a knowledge of the Bible, she challenges anyone to show her that God commanded virginity. भाई कहीं पर लिखा हुआ है क्या? She पूछती है, she asks. In lines 59 to 62, I would like to quote it for you, can quote it in the examination. Where can you find in any historical period that high God forbade marriage? By express word, I pray you, tell me. Or where commanded he virginity? कहाँ? बताइए. कहाँ लिखा हुआ है virginity को follow करना चाहिए? Furthermore, sexual organs are made both for functional purposes and for pleasure. The God, she contends, that has given us the sexual organs, the phallic organs, not only for the functional purpose, not just to urinate. I would like to quote line number 122 to 121, that they were made for purgation of urine. And now 126, from 126 to 128, she quotes, I say this that they are made for both. That is to say, for urination and for ease of procreation, in which we do not displease God. Means he says that these phallic organs are not made only to urinate, but also to procreate, but also to reproduce. And what is the contention, so you can see the raciocination of this lady. So, like metaphysicals of 17th century, she has wit and conceit also. Chaucer was, of course, the predecessor of metaphysicals, I can say it. And unlike many cold women, she has always been willing to have sex whenever her man wants to. Line number 113, she writes, I will bestow the flower of my age. मैं अपनी उम्र की पूरी खुशबू लुटा देना चाहती हूँ. In line number 142, she writes, I will envy no virginity. So it means and then further she says in line number 149 to 150, in wifehood I will use my instrument as fully as my maker has it sent. भाई ईश्वर ने जिस तरीके से बना करके भेजा है हमारे शरीर में different parts को, मैं उन सारे parts को इस्तेमाल करना चाहती हूँ. Then the wife of Bath then tells about her former husbands and reveals how she was able to gain the upper hand over them. By husbands के ऊपर चढ़ के मुसल दल के कैसे रहना है. In line number 154, 155 she writes, a husband I will have who shall be both my debtor and my slave. मेरे पास ऐसा husband होगा जो मेरा दास गुलाम और मेरा कर्जदार भी होगा. This is where, listening to this statement, of course I am also shivering, and the partner who was there in the ship, he also began to shiver. And he is planning to, and he tells her that he is planning to marry soon and worries that his wife will control his body. As the wife of Bath describes, the wife of Bath tells him, hello, have patience. I have more to tell you, the truth inside, And of her 5 husbands, she says, in line number 196, she declares, she confirms that 3 of them were good and 2 were bad. By 5 में से 3 अच्छे थे, 2 बुरे थे. The first 3 were good, she admits. Why they were good? Mostly because they were rich. They were rich, that is why they were good. They were old and submissive. By गौ थे, जो भी मैं बोलती थी मान लेते थे. And the wife of Bath is too transparent about her intention. What was the intention of wife of Bath? And since, भाई मैं उनकी सेवा क्यों करूं? Line number 212 and 13 she says, and since they had me given all their land, why should I take care to please them? भाई उन्होंने अपनी पूरी ज़मीन मुझे मेरे नाम कर दी, उसके बाद सेवा करने से क्या फ़ायदा? Also she admits that a quality of a woman, क्या है भाई, थोड़ा कान खोल के अच्छे से सुन लो. It is written by wife of Bath, but of course it is not written by wife of Bath, written by Chaucer. Wife of Bath is stating it, that for half so boldly can there no man swear and lie as a woman can. जिस तरीके से एक औरत झूठ बोल सकती है, जिस तरीके से एक औरत कसम खा सकती है, वैसी कसम ना तो आदमी खा सकता है ना कोई और खा सकता है. In line number 27, झूठे वाल. And also she puzzled her. I agree personally, this is not my opinion, this is what the wife of Bath is stating there. Also she puzzled her husband with false allegations. झूठे इल्ज़ाम लगाना, तोहमत लगाना. This is also a function of wife. And she writes in line number 239 to 40, what dost thou at my neighbor's house? Is she so fair? Art thou so amorous? So this is where this kind of, भाई पड़ोसन में बहुत इंटरेस्ट ले रहे हो, बहुत सुंदर है क्या? This kind of allegations, वो she puts forth. Now what men, now here once again we should be very much alert. She is going to disclose what men desire about women. And she writes from line number 257 to 261. Some of men desire us for riches, some of their shape, and some for their fairness, and one because she can either sing or dance, and some because of noble descent and flirtatious talk, some because of their hands and their slender arms like physical beauties. So these are the different regions men desire for women. And she then further reveals the secret that women despise husbands who take notice, line number 321, who takes notice or concerns about where we go. भाई, watch dog मत बनो, faithful dog बनो, but watchful dog मत बनो कि कहाँ जा रही हो, कब आओगी. We despise such husbands. In line number 321 it is written. Also she reveals the deceit, weeping, spinning God has given to women naturally. किसी चीज़ को स्पिन करते रहना, बात को घुमाते रहना, whip करना, रोना, deceit करना. These line number 401 to 402, यह तो ईश्वर ने औरतों को कुदरती तौर से दिया है. But I do not agree. But the thing is that this is there, in your book. Now, saying all this, she begins to talk about her fourth husband. Now will I speak of my fourth husband. In line number 452 she writes, and then a reveler, he was a pleasure-loving person, in line number 453. And he had a paramour, he had a mistress. He was also having one mistress. In line number 454 it is discussed. And then she discusses her frustration as his fourth husband did not leave his mistress even after the marriage. कैसे कोई बर्दाश्त, एक तलवार, एक म्यान में दो तलवार तो कभी भी कोई औरत बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकती. At the same time, पुरुष भी नहीं कर सकता, by the way. At the same time, she is conscious of her decaying body. She is conscious of her decaying body. At a time comes in a woman's life when she becomes very much conscious of their lines over their faces, wrinkles. And she laments for a while. The flower is gone, there is no more to tell, but immediately she recovers that the bran, as I best can, now I must tell. ठीक है, जो आटा था, जो जिंदगी का जो स्टफ था वो चला गया, लेकिन उसके बाद भी बहुत कुछ है हमारे पास बचा है जिसको मैं सेल कर सकती हूँ. It means I can present myself to the world, I can utilize my beauty, the left beauty. And she confesses that she was his purgatory on earth. She was the purgatory for her husband. Purgatory means purification, purgation, from there it has come into. And because I always try to make him jealous and make him cry and make him, yell. By God in earth, I was his purgatory. Line number 489, she writes, in many a way, how painfully I tortured him. She accepts this fact. She confesses that she has tortured his fourth husband like anything, and her torture was a kind of purgation for her fourth husband. And finally he died. Finally the fourth husband died while she was on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. In line number 494 it is mentioned. Of her fifth husband now, 5 not 3 sentence, Of her fifth husband, she has much more to say. She loved him, even though he treated her horribly and beat her. He was coy and flattering. He was very shy and flattering in bed and always on her back. She says that women, the wife says, always desire what is forbidden. जो भी चीज़ के लिए मनाही और उसको ही करना पसंद करती हैं. We will cry, मैं नहीं बोल रहा, लिखा हुआ है. Line number 518 and 519. We will cry all day and crave for it, forbid us a thing and we desire it. हमको मना करो, जिस चीज़ को वही desire करेंगे, we will cry करेंगे उसी चीज़ के लिए. And run away from whatever pursues or is forced upon them. And further she writes in line number 523. And too great a supply makes them of little value. If the supply will be more, if you will give us love more than the required amount, we will devalue your love. If you will give us costumes, money more than the required, I will devalue your money. So this is what she tries to say, and this is a very practical statement that you should learn. This husband was also different from the other 4 because she married him for love. not money. He was a poor ex-student who boarded with the wife's friend and confidant. On her fourth husband's funeral, she made a big show of crying. बहुत जब चौथा husband होया, मेरा प्यारा husband, oh, but this was just a show off. This was just a show off. She admits. She actually cried very little, since she already had a new husband lined up. As she watched Jenkins carry her husband's casket, she fell in love with him. भाई इधर से इधर मेरी जनाजा उठेगा, उधर तेरी उधर जनाजा उठ रहा है, उधर दूसरी तरफ इश्क चल रहा है. No. So he was only 20 and she 40. बस half of age में उसने शादी किया. Fifth husband was just half in her age. And but she was always a lusty woman and thought she could handle his youth. So he had a book, and this husband, Jenkins, was having a book of wicked wives, she recalls, called Valerie and Theo. These two books he was always referring to, and the book contained the stories of the most wicked, deceitful wives in history. And his fifth husband would say, see the Eve who brought all mankind into sin by first taking the apple in the Garden of Eden. And then see this Dalilah's betrayal of Samson, line 72 में discuss in there. Then see this woman Clytemnestra, who perhaps was the murderer of Agamemnon, or who conspired to get Agamemnon murdered. Or see this Hercules of his Deianira. So these are the different characters, deceitful wives. He always tries to quote and denounce her position, So Jenkins would torment the wife of Bath by reading out of this book at night. One evening, out of frustration, the wife tears 3 pages out of the book and punches Jenkins in the face. Jenkins repays her by striking on her head. Now, once she says while quarreling, line number 784, 785, a fair woman, unless she is also chaste, is like a gold ring in a show's nose. ना आप कितनी भी सुंदर और खूबसूरत हों, अगर चेस्ट नहीं है तो आपके ऊपर जैसे एक सुअरी जो लेडी पिग है, फेमिनिन ऑफ पिग, सो कहते हैं उसको, उसके नाक में जैसे कोई सोने का रिंग डाल दिया, गोल्ड रिंग, जैसे शोभा नहीं देता, वैसे ही आपकी खूबसूरती शोभा नहीं देती जब तक कि आप चेस्ट नहीं हैं. So she cries, और आप प्योर नहीं हैं. She cries out a lot, and she wants to kiss him before she dies. But when he comes over, she hits him again. They finally manage a truce. दोनों ने दोस्ती की, चलो भाई इकरार से मोहब्बत है, in which he hands over all of his meager estates to her, and she acts kindly and loving. Her tale of her marriage, and she burned the book into ashes. Now her tale of her marriage finished, the wife announces that she will tell her story, eliciting laughter from the friar, who exclaims, "Oh my God, this is a long preamble of a tale. अब तो तुम्हारी भूमिका खत्म हुई है और अब कहानी शुरू होगी. अब तुम tale सुनाओगी." That kind of a statement, but thankfully that tale is not in your syllabus. This is the 856 lines out of 17,000 lines. Only 856 lines you have to study in your syllabus. I just try to sum up it in short, because this is a limitation of the YouTube video. So I hope that everything is clear. The quotations that I have given you, if you write that much in your answer, definitely you will get not less than 75% marks or 70% marks, at least in literature. It is very tough to fetch marks, but it will be a very, very good answer. Thank you very much, friends.